Hello and welcome to a new video. Today I will be adding in more players to the game and adding in everything associated with the players. But first I must begin with changing up the player grab a bit. Before you could only throw an enemy up, side to side, but now you can throw it up as well as being able to throw them downwards. So last video I had removed the health power up, and so to replace it, the player can now absorb the enemy. And the enemy is absorbed, goes towards the enemy and creates particles. This also heals the player in the process and adds a unique mechanic to the game. Okay, so now that the grab is more functional with the enemy, I can give it more functionality with the player. So now, when a player is drowning, you can save them and bring them out of the water so that they are now safe and all together. In addition to saving a player, you can also grab a player. And they are basically stuck with you. And from here, you can actually throw them as per usual. But also, this player locked in here can also escape the grab from the player. So each player had its own distinct color property, but before they all were just the default purple. And I was always gonna make that color property affect the player, but I didn't want to have to reanimate every single frame of all the animations. So I created a shader for the player, which will automatically change all the colors. So now all the players' colors are the correct color on the player and on their icons down at the bottom. And these are all 8 colors in the player form. And as the first player can change their keybinds, all the other players can actually change their keybinds without interrupting the actual game itself through the extra settings things on the areas, and just go back to the actual scene to see the health and stuff, and it's easily back and forthable. And also now whenever the Bane player, which is the only player that can actually pause, wants to pause, all the rest of the players must accept by pressing the appropriate key. And there's a players list and new multiplayer settings, which allows player grabbing to be on or off, changing the window of time to allow the pause to happen, how long they're stuck in a grab. Also, one final thing. When a player falls off and suffers, they get a short period of time where they can respawn at any of the players, and they have a limited time to do so before they are forced to respawn. So now that I have the players all able to work in the level, I can now go to the map. Oh. It turns out I have not actually updated the map since basically the start of the game. So it's very unpolished and unfinished still, with many debugging stuff all over. So considering it's missed out on the last video, I will now create brand new sprites for all of the map. So I basically copied over the player from the levels over to the map with some new animations which allow the player to go up and down. And for the colors, I just reused the exact same player shader as before. Additionally, I added a different view for the coins, health, and lives, as that's not usually needed. And I also copied over the settings for the most part, with some other features, like you cannot exit or restart the level. And also in the keybinds, there's a specific section for all the players' keybinds. so that each player can do their own keybinds individually. And also for the levels, now they have some UI appear above them and different UI in here with a description of the level, which there is none, a display of the big coins, best time, best coins, all of the best amounts that I deem important, with also different modes and a question mark explaining what the mode is. This is a single player one, and also you can go with other players, but I'll kick them out if you're in single player. The multiplayer, of course, the new animations, and this is where you can have all the other players with co-op and competitive right now for modes, with, of course, explanations, which is very basic right now. And you can't start the level yet, but that's as each player needs to confirm. They can confirm and deconfirm at any time. And co-op and competitive will decide if players can interact with each other. Additionally, there's an extra load-up animation and tips, and like a tip upon loading now, including a camera zoom. So now all the players are in. Since I chose co-op, you can phase through the players. But back in here, if I were to choose competitive and start up the level, the players will interact with each other and be able to be picked up, which is what is the multiplayer. So now all the players can play multiplayer together with all the features and their own sections. Of course, there may be more modes eventually, but not right now. So that's it for today's video. I hope you enjoyed, and goodbye.